providing a service, just like you do in your business, just like we do in our business, where, you know what? I mean, when you get something, you got to pay for it.
A lot of times people think, hey, I'm going to go into opening my own business. I'm going to have more time, on my hands. No, you work 24/7. Yeah. No more 14, 15-hour shifts. You're doing 24-hour shifts because it's another baby.
So I've made it my mission, in addition now to just being an artist, I've made it my mission to really teach the truth behind permanent makeup.
We're Erika Marie and Marie Lifschultz, a San Antonio area realtor and lender, but most importantly, we're working moms.
The goal of this podcast is to provide support and a sense of community to San Antonio area working moms like us. So join us in trying to find a balance between career, family, and everything in between. Welcome to this week's episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We're here with Claudia, and she's an artist at Vanidosa Beauty Studios, and also the owner. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her talk about her amazing business and all the cool stuff she does.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Claudia, as you heard. I'm the owner and artist of Vanidosa Beauty Studios and Vanidosa Beauty Salon. So at the salon, we do strictly hair. I'm an esthetician, a licensed esthetician, and also a permanent makeup artist and an instructor. So we do hair in the salon area. And then in our beauty studio, we do lashes, we do chemical peels, we do facials, and of course, permanent makeup. So we have two separate locations. The second location, we just had our grand opening for 2 weeks ago. I mean, all my days look the same now, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 weeks ago.
And yay, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We've only been here a couple of years. Yeah. But San Antonio has been amazing to us, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Oh, I love to hear that. I love when people aren't from here, but they just like it here, and well, I've been here almost my whole life, and I like it here too. So,
right? This is a great place to be at. I love the heat. So usually when I go back home, because I'm from California, they'll say like, "What about the heat?" I'm like, "What about the heat? It's amazing. Can it be 105 degrees every day, please?"
Yeah, yeah. So, Claudia, how did you get into the beauty industry?
So it wasn't, you know what, I didn't think I was going to be here. It kind of fell on my lap. I actually was originally a makeup artist 13 years ago. My son's 12. So yeah, like 13. So 12 years ago or so. And then I opened up my first place just because, as I started having children or had my first son, I kind of wanted to spend more time with him. And, for all of us working moms, it's kind of, we feel this need to be with our kids 24/7, but you still have to provide and you still need something for yourself, which is like a really hard place to be. Mm-hmm. So I kind of decided to open up my first location in California. And after that, it kind of snowballed into like, okay, what else is there? The beauty industry is huge, 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 huge. Most people, when they think about the beauty industry, they kind of just think hair or makeup, but it's aesthetics, it's permanent makeup, now there's body contouring or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
for your body?
Yes. What? They do like this. They have wood there. Girl, they have all kinds of stuff.
Wow, I'm so like out of the beauty loop. I feel like I don't know any of that stuff.
I'm here for you. Here for you. I will guide you.
Yeah.
So, as I started getting a little bit more into the beauty industry, I saw that okay, well now I can do lash extensions, and that's really going to keep me at home. I was doing makeup, but I was doing it on set. So when you're on set, your full days are 12 hours, and 12 hours means 14. It does not mean 12. And your half days are not 5; they're 6 or 8 hours. Travel anyway. So I was away from my son so much, and I decided to open up the first one, and then I was like, what if I did makeup here? So then that went well. And then I said, what if I do lashes? So it kind of snowballed, I guess. And I love being around other women, and I love my clients, and I kind of found a home there in the beauty industry. And so I just kept growing and kept growing. And, like 12 years later, I'm opening up. This would be our 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be actually our 5th location, because we had 3 in California, and now we're here, and now we're opening up our second one. So I've been doing this for a while, and I feel, and I feel honestly like after 12 years, I'm barely understanding really what the industry is and really what it is to be a working mom and a
Yeah.
business owner. You
Yeah.
know, it's a
Well, it's
lot.
incredible. I mean, California and Texas. I mean,
Yes.
completely, two different states and demographics. But I think it's
Oh, yes.
amazing.
And you know what, Mary?
Mhm.
It's so funny you touched on that. I think that was the hardest thing for me. Understanding just because you do something well here doesn't mean everybody
Yeah.
thinks you do it well over here. So I had to find my target market again. I had to understand my marketing essentially all over again and meet all these new people with that look different. I mean, we're all,
Hmm.
it's all women, but
Yeah.
in the beauty industry, it's a trend. So whatever is trending here might not be trending over here, and
Oh,
whatever
true.
you do here might not work over here. So that was it was scary in the beginning, a little scary, but I also kind of took it on as a challenge, and I was like, you know what,
Yeah.
let's see if I can do it again,
Yeah.
completely from scratch. And I think I'm doing it.
I think you
Yeah.
are. No, I think that's great. That's amazing, the entrepreneur spirit, because I mean, obviously you didn't bring, for the most part, clients with you to Texas. I mean, it's you have to start from scratch, and having it and being successful is great. And a lot of times people think, hey, I'm gonna go into opening my own business. I'm gonna have more time, on my hands. No, you work 24/7. Yeah. No more
Right.
14, 15 hour shifts. You're doing 24-hour shifts because
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's another baby, you
Yeah,
know?
totally, totally. And
Mhm.
and so I also teach, and a lot of the women that come to me, they kind of do say like, I just want to spend my time with my kids, and I'm like, well, you may or may not be able to do that. So
Yeah.
now I'm finding it after so long. I'm a mom of three boys, so after 12 years, I'm barely finding my
Mhm.
balance now.
Yeah.
Where okay, so I decided I'm only gonna work till 3 o'clock on Fridays, or I'm gonna take these 2 days and I'm gonna go see my kids in karate and jujitsu. And so it's a hard balance, and I think I'm barely finding it now after 12
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
It's
that is so hard. But I really love the attitude, like the sort of like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. Like I'll work on this business and I'll find, the clients and I'll do this. That's very much my attitude as well, and so I relate to that where it's kind of like you'll
sure.
often hear me say like, "Well, how difficult could it be?" Right? Like I'll figure it out. And
Oh,
it's
I
She
like
like
does.
it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
and
it
it's
can't
like
be that hard. I can figure
yeah,
this
and
out.
it's like, I mean, I do that kind of stuff in my personal life, like I'll see, something that needs like reupholstering or something and I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'll watch a video and I'll do it, or whatever in my business. And so I love just realizing and seeing other people realize that everything is kind of figure outable. You know what I mean? Like
There
we
you
can
go. Yeah,
yeah, like
we
we're
should put
going
that
to
on a
get to
shirt.
it. I know, I'm sure it is. That's not original, I'm sure. What is
By Erica.
anymore? Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, but I love that. I love that you came here to a new place and just kind of really did figure it out, and you've had so much success so far. And so I really look forward to seeing what else you've got going on.
I think when you're starting a new business, it's kind of like you're saying, you kind of do have to come in with some kind of attitude where like I can do it, but also
Mhm.
like I don't know everything. And I
Right.
Yeah.
think when you've been in the industry, any industry for so long, you kind of get to a point where you feel like you know a lot, but you still don't know everything, and it's really hard to open up yourself. So in California, I've been doing this for 8 years, just the permanent makeup.
Yeah.
Um, so in California, I didn't really do too much marketing or too much of anything because I already had a bunch of clientele. So when I got here, I really told myself, okay, this is brand new. You know some, but you don't know everything. So I really
Yeah.
opened up my mind, and honestly, like every time that I open or I have to rebrand or rethink anything in the business, it's challenging, but at the same time, like okay, you have to put that ego away, and you have to say, okay, I don't know everything. It's very figure outable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you start all over.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
Oh, I love it. So, how long have you actually? I know that you've been a business owner for about 13 years. You started opening your business in California, but how long have you been doing like was the permanent makeup just clientele you had? Like you've been doing that prior to that? Since I mean, I know you didn't know in your shop, but were you doing that before that?
No, so I've actually don't I've been doing permanent makeup for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so on my own with makeup and then lashes and then aesthetics, and now the permanent makeup. So the permanent makeup portion has been 8 years, and it just
Got it.
kind of took over my life. It was it was great. In the beginning. I wasn't ready. I feel for the business portion of it. So I made quite a bit of money, but I didn't know how to how to proportion my time properly, and I was
Got it.
working too much. And it doesn't matter that money's coming in if you can't spend it or you can't see your kids, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing permanent makeup for about 8 years or so, and so now I feel I've gotten to the point where, because I also teach, I feel like I've gotten to the point where I can teach very, very well. And
Good.
Yeah.
it just, you know, like every other industry, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on YouTube and a lot of people that know everything, and so
Hmm.
there's a lot of
Sure.
misconceptions. I mean, a lot of misconceptions in the permanent makeup industry, just because it's fairly new. So, you know, a lot of the times it's called it's semi-permanent, but it's a tattoo. You can't untattoo somebody. It's permanent, you know, and I think that's one of the scariest parts that I've seen in the beauty industry. But like I said, anytime any industry grows, I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of lies and a lot of things that aren't true.
Oh, sure.
So I've made it my mission, in addition now to just being an artist, I've made it my mission to really teach um, the truth behind permanent makeup. You know, I myself have tattoos, and I've had them for 15, 17 years, and
Yeah.
they're not semi-permanent; they're still here.
No. Yeah. No, same here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like once you start sharing what you know and sharing your information, and you're not gatekeeping, I think you grow as an artist, and you also grow as an whatever it is you're doing in your field, just because it's kind of like relearning everything, you know, because the more you regurgitate information, the more you're learning and it's making more sense to you. So ever since I started teaching and like disseminating information, I feel like I've definitely grown more myself, because
Right.
I take a pause and I'm like, okay, well, why am I teaching this? And what makes this true? So
Right.
every year, it's our industry is huge. So every year I'm like learning something new. And now I'm passing on that information to small business owners when they want to hear it. You know, just business information that I wish I had 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, doing the teaching side of things now, you've probably got to stay super current and knowledgeable on all that stuff. So it's bettering other people, but it's
Right.
bettering you as well. So I think that's
Hmm.
really good. That was a nice thing to implement, I think, because now you know all the top stuff and all the current stuff, and you can help share that with other people.
Yeah, and I
Yep.
feel like in our industry anyway, it's the information kind of recycles itself. So because it's our stuff is based on trends, of course. So what'll
Mm.
happen is that something that didn't work 5 years ago, all of a sudden somebody thinks they're gonna make it work. So it comes back.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, these things have permanent repercussions.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've seen like I don't know if you ladies have seen how they try to cover the under eyes with permanent makeup. Have you guys
No.
seen
I've not seen permanent. I've seen where they've done the highlighting with makeup, but
Oh,
not permanent
yes.
makeup.
Yeah, so that's insane. So that's so bad. That specific ink has a certain molecular structure that never leaves your skin, but it turns colors.
Oh
So, oh,
no.
Oh,
it's insane. It's insane. But it kind of gets recycled every 3 to 5 years, and these people think they finally, you know, made it work, but nobody's made it work because it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's all this constant misinformation, and then on top of staying, and then so as an instructor, I have to stay on top of those trends and say like, hey, this doesn't work. It didn't work the last 10 times I tried to introduce it. It's not going to work now. But
Right.
it's growing, man. Our industry is growing so quickly. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Well, with the beauty industry, trends change. I mean,
Right.
like, they first try this, do this, and a lot of makeup, no makeup, thin eyebrows, thick eyebrows, like over, and now like with like styles today, the what is it, the '90s are coming with the high waisted jeans and the
Yes. And the grunge
the
is coming
grunge is
back.
back.
Yeah.
I love the grunge stage. Um, but I mean, so obviously makeup changes. So when you go into doing, I'm assuming something permanent, that's something to consider, and I'm assuming that's something you counsel your clients on, right?
I do. And one of the things I love to do is permanent eyeliner, right? But our eyes change so much, you know, like they'll fall down a little bit,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
And nothing, unfortunately, nothing stays the same forever. So that's one of my main things that I do try to explain to my clients, like, hey, this is permanent. Your face is changing. So this can't be out to here because, in 5 years, 10 years, it'll be down to here.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the brows. Brows are our most popular service. And
Yeah.
so if we were brows aren't done like they were in the 90s anymore.
No.
But
They're
you
not
also
thin and
Yeah,
little.
I fix a lot of those. But also at the same time, when we counsel our clients, I do have to say, like, hey, so I'm gonna use this type of ink that'll almost completely go away in 2 years. Hope you're cool with that, because I don't think you want this like forever, ever, ever. Because your
Yeah.
face changes, your bone structure change, and not your bone structure, but where your eyebrows sit is gonna change.
Well,
Mine eyes
yeah.
used to look like this. Now they're like they're a little lower. They're a little lower.
Yeah. Yeah. What isn't?
Yeah, really.
Well, I mean, working moms, I mean, you're out there doing the best you can, but I know I've seen the trends where a lot of people who maybe started doing permanent makeup way in the beginning didn't have someone counsel them, like, hey, you might not
Right.
want this. It's okay that it fades because we want to update that look in the next 2 years because trends change. Right?
Right, right.
So,
And so one of the things
mm,
that's really hard is explain just that, Mary, just what you said. Like, we have to say,
yeah.
like, hey, trends are changing. So this particular ink that you keep saying and using and that's super popular, maybe you don't want to use because just because you want your eyebrows like this today doesn't mean they're gonna look good, 10 years from now. So I've taken that as part of my job. That's gonna be I decided a couple years ago that's gonna be my job. I'm gonna give true information. And so when I teach, I tell my students, I teach them to be masters of the craft and not just do permanent makeup. It's not the
Yeah.
same. So I teach molecular size of specific ink. I teach the way carbon-based ink is different from non-carbon-based ink, and why and how you should use this and that. I teach
Hmm.
why we shouldn't, why you don't want so much opacity in ink. And I don't feel like there's enough people in my industry anyway teaching that. And again, it's permanent. So you have to
Yeah.
be really
Yeah.
careful about anything that you're putting in the skin because it's kind of forever.
Claudia, what would you recommend for a working mom who maybe doesn't have a lot of time and they're thinking about maybe doing something permanent that like, hey, this will save me 10 minutes in my day. What would be the one, like if they're looking at it and have never had permanent makeup done before, what would you recommend? Kind of their first step. What would be the first counsel that you would do with them?
So I would say most of my clients are working moms, and actually a majority of that is small business owners as well, which is I find really interesting. I think it's because of the time saving. Like, we all kind of want to save time and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I usually recommend that they start off with the brows. And what I like to do when somebody's really iffy about it or kind of scared, I use a particular type of ink that has a lifespan of about 2 years, which I think is great because you might not want to do them in 2 years anymore.
Right.
There's also a way to deposit ink into the skin with forever ink so that it's really not forever. So I usually tell my clients that come in, if they don't know what to do, they just kind of want to update a look, I say do brows, because
Yeah.
brows really do change your face, and they make you look a little younger. Anytime I see anybody with the pencil thin eyebrows, it does age you a little bit.
It does.
There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
no frame around your eyes. Yeah. So I do a lot of brows because of that, because everybody's either we're all trying to save time, spend more time with their kids, or running after the
Hmm.
kids, or yelling at the kids, but the kids are always involved. As
Yes.
working moms.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Brows.
I'm very brow illiterate. And so I don't do I don't do anything to I don't even wax them or pluck them or do anything. And so but they're so
Pretty
mine
though.
are mine are so light. Like, it looks even a little darker here
Yeah.
in this, but they're in real life they're very light. And so sometimes I think to myself I should go get them, filled in a little bit so that they were a little bit more
Hmm.
whatever. But I just am so, like I said, brow illiterate. I don't even know all the things you can do. So
Hmm.
it's
There's
interesting to
really
learn all
yeah,
of these things.
there's a lot of things too. We do what I mean, that's really more semi-permanent. It's we do henna on eyebrows, and then
Oh,
we also
I've
tint
heard of that.
eyebrows. So for you, since you have your lighter eyebrows, that would work. But for people that don't have any eyebrows, but then they want to shave, maybe they're going on vacation or whatever, the henna would work because it actually stains the skin.
yeah.
But I'm telling you, Erica, there's all kinds of stuff out there now.
Yeah, I know. I need to
Hard to
really,
keep up. There's so many things.
I need to really just get with it. You know?
Dude, what? Get with it already.
I've been thinking I want the eyeliner because I'm like, I hate doing it. I just don't I rarely put it on. I'm like, oh, it's easy. My baby sister loves permanent makeup. She loves it. She's done it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
doesn't it hurt? Like I have tattoos, but I'm like, on my face, those ones I have hurt.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. It actually kind of feels kind of strange. So when I do eyeliner, I numb it for like 20 minutes. 20, 30 minutes. And so when I go out in there, it's almost like a phantom pain. Like it doesn't hurt, but you feel like somebody's touching you with an eyelash and you want to like scratch it because you can't feel anything.
Ah. Hmm.
And so what I'm gonna do to myself, that I usually kind of recommend instead of doing eyeliner is doing what we called a lash enhancement. So the lash enhancement just goes in between your eyelashes, and so it makes
Hmm.
your actual lashes look darker. So you don't have
Oh,
this.
okay.
So so you don't have this thick eyeliner. For me, that's what I'm gonna do for myself. I'll probably go just above my lash line and into my lash line. I just haven't had time to tattoo my own face, but
Yeah.
I will do it soon.
Well, I have to say, I tried ask someone to do like eyelashes on me, and it was I don't think they were very experienced, and I didn't know. I had someone gave me a gift certificate. It was very. I went to go do it. Was in the chair for like it felt for like forever. But then
Yeah.
when they started coming out, it pulled out my eyelashes. So I didn't have eyelashes for a little while because I'm like, oh, I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. But again, I don't think I went to someone who maybe had been doing it for. It was part of a shop. Like it wasn't what they specialized in.
Yeah.
So it was something I learned very early on when they started adding eyelashes.
Yeah,
But
because I
no.
mean, yeah, that shouldn't happen. You should be able to keep your own eyelashes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
ideally.
and it's like everything else as an industry is growing, especially with
Yeah,
ours. You get a lot of people that want to come in and make some quick cash, like in every industry. But with us, you can cause some permanent damage.
yeah,
Yeah.
If when I'm teaching, because I also teach lashes, so when I'm teaching lashes, we talk about traction alopecia on eyelashes. And a lot of people don't talk about that, but that's a thing. It can actually happen. You can cause traction alopecia and permanent damage on the lash line if you don't apply them properly. If
oh,
if they start pulling on all the lashes start coming off together, it can
Yeah.
cause traction alopecia, and then you won't have any eyelashes.
Yeah, and it
yeah,
looks really weird. It looks very funny when you
Yeah,
don't have
yeah,
eyelashes.
yeah, it
yeah,
Take it a
does. And
while.
I've done a lot of people that also have like these small gaps, and you can see them. It's the first thing you see because they're, you have lashes, and all of a sudden it's naked, like right here.
oh,
But I think that, like you said, people who come in to do, a quick buck, make a quick buck, and it's because it's trending. We have the
Yeah,
same thing in our industry, Erica, where people come in
yeah,
like, oh, this is easy. I'm going to jump in, make a couple of bucks, and then they're not professionals. They're
right.
not someone who finds value in educating themselves, continue in education, learning new trends, and so forth. They just come
right,
and make a quick buck, and then yeah. So you have to find yourself a real professional who
right.
is, there and that would be available in a month, 2 months if you have questions, right? You don't go
Yeah.
back to the same shop and that person's gone.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's how
Yeah.
you were saying, Mary. You guys had a guest a couple episodes ago where she was talking about how she adds value because she's
Hmm.
a travel
Oh,
agent.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I found that very poignant because she is her in her work, she adds value, and that's what she brings, and that's what these big stores don't bring. And it's like you're saying, Mary, in any industry you have to add value, and so when people come in and want to make a quick buck, they're not going to add value.
Yeah.
right,
It kind of seems like, oh well, I'm just going to take a bunch of people, do a bunch of whatever, and make some quick money, but you can't add value like that.
Yeah.
And
right,
I think especially now with the economy, with all this talk of this and that, um, the way to keep a client is to add value.
right.
Correct.
There's no way
Hmm.
around it. If you're
Yeah,
just there for a quick buck, a client will sense it. I see it when there's blood in the water. The sharks come, and
right.
you can really see who's who, and
Yeah,
Hmm.
who's there to make a quick buck, and then who's there really to add value to your life, even if it's just taking off 10 minutes from drawing in your eyebrows.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That episode I thought was interesting as well because she talked about how they almost feel guilty for asking for payment for their services.
I
And
see.
I'm a big proponent of and I've learned the hard way over the years, but that you kind of get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
So, if it seems like really cheap or if it seems free, it's like, well, what kind of services are you really, what quality of services are you getting? And so her and I kind of had a conversation where it's like, no, I mean, you're providing a service just like you do in your business, just like we do in our business.
Yeah.
Where, you know what? I mean, when you get something, you got to pay for it. I mean, that's the deal, right? I mean, we're all, you wouldn't expect a doctor or a lawyer to sort of be like, oh, I'm going to give you a
Yep.
discount. It's like, no, I don't know that I
You
want a
never.
discount from my doctor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
that would
no,
be,
but
that
you're
would be
not just
strange.
paying for that service, you're also paying for their experience. I mean, I got 20 years in what I
Right.
do. You're
Right.
paying for all the time and sweat that I put into it to now have a better product for you, my consumer, whatever that is, right?
Right.
She hasn't been just doing this for a few years. She opened the shop
Right.
as brand new grand opening, but she's been doing umpteen years doing this type of work. So you're
Right.
paying for her experience for that
Exactly.
service. It's not just that service; it's the experience that comes with it.
Right. Right.
Definitely.
And with that comes value. And with
Right.
this,
Yes.
right. And I've met so many women in my industry who come and go and they can't stay because,
Mhm.
they don't add value. It's like you're saying, they come in, they make a quick buck and they leave. Um, and nobody cares to do that anymore. But also to what you were saying, I talked to this, I tried to talk to this I tried to talk about finding your target market
Yeah.
to a lot of my students. Not everybody's for everybody. You do not have to compete with pricing. You compete with your skills and with your knowledge and how you're
Right.
adding value. But
Mhm.
and not everybody's for everybody. Not everybody's my target market, and I understand that, and that's okay. But when you speak to your target market, those people will pay for your skills, for your knowledge, and for the amount of time that you've been in your industry.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so many, not just women, but just business people in
Yeah.
general, they end up wanting, like, they want to get all the clients, right? We all want all the clients. And so it's like they talk broadly to everybody, but
Yeah.
then no one feels like you're really talking to them specifically. And so then those people maybe don't get the desired clients that they were hoping for because it's too broad, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
that's
Well,
important.
it's hard. Like for my industry, I see a lot of people on social media. They get the clicks and the likes and the whatever because they're closing this or doing that. I'm like, oh, I don't post a lot. Should I? I need to be doing that. And then I take my focus off what I'm good at, right? To keep
Yeah.
up with the industry. I'm like, wait. I'm great at what I do. I know I am. So whomever I work with is very blessed to have me work with them. Like I know that but it's hard because you see a lot of things out there that are they're picture pretty, like it looks
Yes.
great, but that doesn't mean it was a great service,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you have to kind of step back, and as a woman in any industry, you have to step back and say, okay, you know what? I value myself, and I don't have to compete with the people who are doing my job. You're competing with yourself. You really
And
are.
it's so yeah,
You
and
know.
it's so funny that you say that because I feel like us women we kind of do that thing where like, oh, I feel bad for charging. And I
Yeah,
see it like that's a woman trait.
it really
Yeah,
You're
is.
helping
men
her, but
don't.
then let's do it for free. No, no, we also have value.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
and I tell everybody, there's this funny story that I always tell people when they ask me, because so I do a lot of corrections, right? So people who have previous like work, they went somewhere really cheap and they kind of go, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So in California, I fixed $1,200 eyebrows. So this particular woman, I fixed I don't know, maybe five, six, seven brows of hers. So this woman, she has a lot of the likes, a lot of the follows, a lot of picture perfect, but she never posts full on because I had a client whose eyebrows were black, I'm telling you, blacker than my hair, and they were like this.
Oh no.
And she paid $1,200,
Oh
and then
my
she had
gosh.
her car towed because this is LA. In LA, you just can't park anywhere. They'll tow your ass. So she paid for the tow. She paid for her eyebrows. The lady was like, I mean, it was a mess. This poor girl. And then her
Yeah.
eyebrows were horrible to the point where I kind of told her like, listen, there's very very little I can do. So I'm gonna try my best, but I mean, they're still crooked. But she had all the likes and she had all the follows and stuff. And so
Yeah.
Hmm.
going back to what Mary was saying, you gotta speak to just your people and H down. We're not for everybody, but
Yeah.
the target market will find you and you'll find them. It's a huge city. I don't want all the clients. God, no. I don't want all the clients. Because not all the clients are for me, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, we always like to ask our guests, what's their favorite thing or a few of their favorite things about, the career and industry that they're in. And so I'm curious, you're obviously very passionate about it. And so I'm curious what your favorite things are about what you're doing.
So my favorite thing has always been the amount of growth in what I do. So there's just so much information to consume and so much information that's coming out. That's honestly my favorite thing. When I find out that somebody's doing something and I haven't heard of it or I haven't tried it, I will obsess with it until I understand it. And I love that obsession, that crazy part of me that says I have to
Yeah.
know this and I have to understand it to a T. That's my favorite thing, honestly. Like, there's so many trends coming out because, like we were talking about, it is
Yeah.
a trendy thing in the beauty industry. My favorite part is consuming knowledge in our industry. And so I can talk to anybody that has been doing this for 20 years or 3 years and talk about everything in our industry just because I'm such a consumer of knowledge. So that's my favorite thing.
That's a
And my
good favorite thing. Yeah. That's
Well,
a
it's
good
nice
favorite
to
thing.
hear because I mean, here she's right. Her industry it does grow and change almost daily. I mean, you see trends change all the time. So and then there's new products, new ways of
Sure.
doing things that you've done forever, and there might be a better way as you grow. You learn better ways of doing it, and people share that. So in your industry, I'm assuming from what I mean, networking with you was awesome. I love meeting you. It was so wonderful. But I feel like in your industry, a lot of people do share their knowledge. They do share what they're doing, and like you said, you don't want all the clients. You want the ones that fit to you. So there's so much business out there to share for everyone. So you don't have to
Yeah.
compete with each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wish it was more like that. You get to a point where there's not women that have been doing it for this long as I have. For some reason, not all of us like to share our knowledge. We kind of try to. A lot
Yeah.
of us try to gatekeep.
That's how our
I
industry
get,
is as well.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, honestly, and
It
it's
can get kind of
not.
catty,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah,
strange.
yeah. And there's our industry is still changing and growing. So I feel like there's enough for everybody. It's
Yeah,
okay to just exchange information. And I've done that, and sometimes it's not reciprocated, which you kind of learn and you move on.
sure.
But yeah, the best way to grow your industry, if you're really passionate and you love it, is just to share information.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
What
awesome.
do
think
you
that's
say,
so true.
Erica? Throw it out there in the universe.
Yeah, I'm big on that. I'm big on
Yeah.
just putting positive stuff out there. And I just feel like positive stuff ends up coming back one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really good that you're doing that. And it's obviously working for you. So I feel like that's great.
Yeah, like I
Yay!
said, I like it, and we're opening up our second location. We have a lot of plans here. We have a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. So it's
Good.
it's it's our home now, and we love it here for our kids, for ourselves. It's a really family friendly city. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I love the heat
There's
and I love the rivers.
Yeah.
well, and you're in Fiesta. We're in Fiesta season
So
right
I
now.
haven't gone to my first fiesta event. My
I
first fiesta event was yesterday, and it got canceled because of the freaking rain.
Oh,
Oh,
we weren't
It was so
canceled. We had
crazy.
a Fiesta thing. It was cold and rainy, and we were still out there.
Oh man, see, I should have done that.
yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to do at this time of year specifically, and it's all
Yeah.
super fun.
We got a whole week of it coming, so get ready
Yeah.
to party.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I still don't understand what fiesta really is or why it
A
is.
big party.
It's just a
That's what
big
everybody says.
party. Yep.
A
Yeah,
party for 10 days. Actually, they extended it. It used to be 10 days. Now it's 10 days, 10 full
Yeah.
days of just events and it's celebrating our city. So we have a beautiful city here and lots
yeah,
of people should come, right? But yeah,
not too
Fiesta's a lot of
many.
fun.
Yeah.
Not too
We don't
many.
want them
Then
to
it gets too
California or
crowded.
Texas.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Claudia, and then at the end, we usually sort of just have our guests let people know how they can reach out to you for all of your services.
Okay, so you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as Vanidosa Beauty, Vanidosa. You can also find us on our website at vanidosabeautystudios.com and our salon, Vanidosa Beauty Salon.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, we'll put all of that stuff in our show notes too when
Thank
this
you.
comes out. And we'll tag you and do all that cool stuff. So that everybody that is, wanting your services can hopefully reach out.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
yeah,
Awesome.
perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much. I learned a lot about the beauty industry. I learned a little bit
Yay.
about some of these business practices and all of that stuff. I feel
Yeah.
like this was super informative. And I'm going to take, like I always say, I say this every time, but it's so true. And we talk about this. Every time we have a guest on here, I feel like I can take something from these guests and use them in my own business.
In my own, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the best part, I think, about having these conversations with these women. It's just been super informative to us as well. So
Okay,
yeah,
great.
definitely thank you for being here. And I'm going to say thank you to our listeners for tuning in to this episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. And we're just going to catch you guys next week.
Bye,
See
guys.
ya. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at our respective Instagram accounts or join our Working Moms of San Antonio Facebook group. Those links can be found in our episode description. If you have an episode topic suggestion or question, please email us at office@radisagent.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. See you next week.